Yo, what's up, good people? Y'all know what time it is, baby. It's AA Sports, straight sports, no damn chaser. You got the super team of sports talk here with y'all on one half of it. They call me Diego Barista Cough, the Black Dominican Russian. Checking in with my main man, my partner in crime. I call him the 6 foot under post up champ. Tell him who you are.
What's good people? It's your boy Uncle Hate, the other A and AA Sports, broadcasting live here on a Tuesday for our week 2 recap. Good, homie.
Oh man, everything is good. We appreciate y'all people for tuning in, listening. This is episode 188.
Whew.
So if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spreaker or iTunes, we appreciate that. Continue to share the content with your people. Leave us some comments. Subscribe to the shows as always. We ask you to do that, and we are all good. Again, we appreciate y'all support, man. Always. Yes, we're gonna dive into this NFL Week 2. We're going to mix in what we think may be some overreactions and try to figure out what's actually real going on out here in these NFL streets 2 weeks in. And then we got some other news and notes. Some people that got traded. Some people want to be traded. So we're going to dig into all of that drama before we leave here tonight. So let's hop right on into it. Now, when we were sitting here recording the pick show for Week 2 last Thursday, the Panthers and the Bucks were set to square off. A little bit of a rain delay, not much, but your Carolina Panthers went down at home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Jabu, 20-14. What happened, man?
Man, Cam Newton ain't right. Something's not right.
Say period, point blank, right?
Period, point blank. Now, news came out tonight that he was in a walking boot, and I saw ocular proof of it on Instagram. Eric Reed leaked it earlier today. But people, Cam Newton has only ran the ball 5 times this year in 2 games for a negative 2 yards. That ain't like him. Now, he got hurt, was that the 3rd preseason game? He got hurt in the 1st quarter, and that was, a week or so before? Right before the season started. So he had the 4th week. So basically 2 weeks before the season started, he got hurt again. But we never got the stint. They just said that, he was going to be definitely ready. Homie is a statue back there. He's not moving. And unfortunately, I'm a realist. If we're depending on Cam Newton to stand back there like a statue and beat teams at this current juncture, we're not going to win games that way. That's not Cam. Cam got to be Cam. And if Cam got a bum foot, if Cam is still trying to get his shoulder right, these injuries are starting to pile up. Yes.
And he can't be himself because he plays a physical style of quarterback that we have really not seen from anybody in this league. So if he can't do the things that make him Cam, then that puts y'all behind the 8 ball to a degree.
Absolutely.
And
if he can't run or he's not throwing accurately, teams are gonna do just what Tampa did Thursday night. They're gonna stack that damn box and tell Christian McCaffrey, beat us with 8 in the box. Good luck. And, when they key on him, I think he might have had 60 combined yards, rushing and receiving, after having like 200 on week 1. So now Cam did end up with 300 yards passing in the game, but he missed a whole lot of open receivers. We should have won that game. And honestly, the telltale sign that shit's wrong, 4th and 1. We just needed the 1 to keep the game going. 4th and 1.
Right.
They took the ball out of his hands. Did a direct pass to McCaffrey on a goddamn sweep at home.
A gadget sweep at that.
A gadget sweep. Last time I checked, he may be vegan now, but he's still 6'5", 250. You talking about 1? Cam, first Cam to get the 1, dog.
That like you said, that's a telltale sign right there, because at any other point, any other season, we know if it's 4th and 1
Tampa,
everybody in the stadium, everybody watching knows that Cam Newton is going to run the ball, and 9 times out of 10, the defense still can't stop him from getting the yard.
no.
So for them not to even attempt it on the goal line, pretty much, yeah, that's very telling to the condition or the state of his health right now.
Right, because you know he would have went over the top. They only needed the one to get the first down.
Mm-hmm.
To keep the drive going, they took the ball out of his hands. So, of course, one thing I'm not caring for right now, maybe they're trying to protect him, but tell the truth. If he's hurt, he's hurt. But this shit world, he's fine. It ain't got nothing to do with his foot. You said that Thursday night, but he in a damn boot Tuesday? Keep it real. Maybe they're trying to protect him from the criticism, but Cam's this is year 9. So at this point, he done heard it all.
Right, and maybe they're trying to protect him from the criticism. Maybe they're trying to not. Maybe they're trying to show a little bit of gamesmanship and not let the defense know how, or let other teams or opponents know how hurt he really is, so they can try to key on that. But at this point, it's just obvious.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think. I'm sitting here now looking at y'all next stretch of games. You're at Arizona, at Houston, Jacksonville at home, and at Tampa Bay before the bye. I'm not ready to say that. I'm not ready to say that the season is lost. Actually, because you're 0-2, but you're only one game down because your division right now. You're looking at Tampa and Atlanta at 1-1. Even the Saints are 0-2. No, Saints won the first game. They pulled that one out. Right, so they 1-1. So you're not totally out of it. But Cam's got to maybe sit down for a few games and get right.
Right.
Otherwise, then this will start to unravel.
Now, last thing I got on Carolina before we talk about some Tampa because they did win, but you got to look at it. Damn, I lost my train of thought just that fast. The defense has done their job. Both of them games were lost by a combined 9 points. They've done their part. You can't put that on them. The secondaries even showed up, but let's shout out to Tampa, man. They went on the road, division game early. Short week,
right.
And won this game. Jameis was controlled, didn't throw any picks. There was a couple of them that could have been. I think Kuechly dropped one, but he did what he's supposed to do. Chris Godwin looks really good for them as a second receiver. Hell, he seemed like he was open the whole game. Mike Evans, the dude they done paid the bread to. I guess he's pulling the best corner with him, but him or O.J. Howard did not show up for that game on Thursday.
Well, I'm not sure Mike Evans is fully healthy because week 1, when we played him, the 49ers played Tampa. I think he had the flu or something, some kind of virus. He played, but I don't think he was very effective. And then by y'all playing on Thursday, maybe he hadn't recovered. So we'll see come week 3, he'll be had 10 days, to recover and try to get right. But I don't think he's all the way right.
Right. They had a running game going. Ty Bowles in that defense. It makes a big difference, people, when you change scheme. You got an actual dude who knows how to call a good defense. And let's be clear, they got number first-round picks on that defense because they've been bad for a long time.
Yeah.
So at some point, the talent has to rise. But, they're 1-1. They're moving forward. We got to get a win, Carolina. We got to beat Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we don't win this game next week. I'm showing up with a paper bag.
Yeah, and I always look at the season. Whether we're talking about these two teams or pretty much any team, I split the season into 4 quarters, 16 games, 4-4-4. So try to come out with a split these next 2 games, get the 2-2.
There you go.
Like I said, get Cam healthy, and then just try to go from there because you got a lot of your division games. I think on the back end.
Yeah.
So that'll be the telltale sign of how the season ends up going. So
one thing I know for sure, I know this without a shadow of a doubt, he gonna be healthy for that London game, and he gonna have on his best outfits. They played Tampa in London.
Okay.
Close out now for London.
Okay, so when I said at Tampa, that's the London game. So it's not really in Tampa.
Yeah.
Damn, I don't like when the NFL schedules division games across the pond. I don't like that shit.
That don't make sense.
You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. But we will see how it goes. So we'll see how it goes.
All
All
right,
right,
big
next
dog.
up.
Your
Okay.
guys, the 49ers, went on the road. They are 2-0 on the road. The San Francisco 49ers. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals 41-17. What you got?
I mean, you know me. I'm a wet blanket, so I always find something to say what's wrong. I can't find anything this game.
Yeah.
I just got to be honest. I mean, we ran the ball for like 259. Between the running backs and everything. Jimmy, other than the pick that he threw, which I've been looking at that replay for several times. I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck is he thinking. It was like it was like five defenders back there. But other than that, and Shanahan not letting him throw the ball fourth quarter so he can get 3 more yards to get to 300. I was actually pretty pleased. I was actually pretty pleased. He looked a little bit more comfortable in the pocket. He was actually following through on his throws, not trying to fit things into windows that he shouldn't be trying to fit them into. In Kyle Shanahan's offense, man, just let the offense do the work for you.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I'm saying, just don't fuck up. The defense gave up a lot of passing yards. But I think a lot of that was because, after we got up big, you playing softer coverages and things like that. So I'm not going to take that too much into account. But we continue to stop the run. And also,
down. Well, I know he was supposedly hurt, but he played. Yeah. Y'all shut him down.
I think he had like 14 yards on 11 carries or something crazy. So, and we continue to get pressure on the quarterback, which is supposed to be one of our calling cards this year with that defensive line. So, I give my boys credit this week. It was Cincy, but at the same time, we've been bad for so long. To go 2-0 on the road to start, and then now we're going home with a banged up Pittsburgh team, but they was really the third string quarterback because they backup got traded 2 days before Sunday's game, and now they're looking at Mason Rudolph. Don't let the guard down. Continue to play because
be y'all first home game, and y'all coming in 2-0. That building gonna be turned.
Yeah, first home game. The retiring T.O.'s jersey at halftime. So I'm hoping we come out there with another win, go to 3-0.
Oh man, I wonder what T.O. gonna say at the half.
Yeah, it ain't no telling. There was some bad blood with him in the franchise over the years, but it's been hashed out over the last couple. So I think he may. Jeff Garcia, one of them cats. I don't think he really hold grudges. He's had some things to say. He may show up, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
I doubt it.
But all right, let's keep it moving. Boy, this was the classic LA Chargers game here. They went across country for their 1:00 game, playing Detroit, and lost 13-10. It's like, are they not regressing back to what we thought they were? They've been decent the last couple of years, but they're going back to what the Chargers have tended to do.
Well, the problem with them, and if they would have played anybody other than the Lions, I probably would have picked the other team. But the injuries for them, that's always the thing with the Chargers is the injuries, and they've got a lot of them right now. You got Melvin Gordon still holding out, so they were very tender and very vulnerable, and you can see by them only scoring 10 points, even on the road. That's
they starting safety. Adrian Phillips got hurt. He on the IR. They just.
So both their safeties are out. So Phillips and Derwin James are out. So
Bear, is he done? I thought he had a job by now.
Yeah. Maybe some point in the season, like you said, injuries and things. Maybe somebody will give him a call. But yeah, I'm very surprised no one picked him up.
Yeah, but I don't have much on this game. I mean, Detroit won, but Phillip Rivers did not look good. So they're 1-1, and Detroit is 2. No, actually, they ain't even 1-1. They got a tie. So
right, 1-1 for Detroit. So
yeah,
the Chargers got to tighten up. I'm trying to pull up real quick who they played next. There we go.
They probably not even gonna be legit healthy until after Thanksgiving or close to it.
Yeah, true. It's not pulling up from it. Oh well, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe they just need to put them powder blues on, in order to get right.
Yeah. All right. Next up, The Minnesota Vikings went into Lambeau Field and got beat 21-16. Green Bay's offense actually, I mean, they only put up 21 points, but the defense held another team to under 20. They're doing this right now, and Aaron Rodgers ain't even balling.
Yeah, because this game, Green Bay jumped out 21-0 early.
Right.
And didn't pretty much do anything from what I could tell from a distance, the second half of that game at all.
Yeah.
So, I think Kirk Cousins threw some more picks in this game. I can't remember.
I think I got him on here.
But I know.
I don't want to put it on one person, but the defense is solid. They got a running game this year, but he never shows up the games they need him to win. Never. Any team, Washington or Minnesota, it's like that ain't him. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, I think these are season stats you put on here. 2 games in, he's 22 for 42 for 52%, and 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And again, people, that is not 1 game worth of stats. That's 2 games worth of stats.
2 games.
I think the first game he only threw 10 passes, if I'm not mistaken. I think he went 8 for 10. So with Adam Thielen, with Stephon Diggs, Kyle Rudolph's still there at tight end, I believe.
And they paid everybody over the last 2 summers. All the receiving threats got paid.
Right. I know Mike Zimmer wants to run the ball, but you can't run it this much because Dalvin Cook had 135 yards this game.
Well, like 80 of it came on 1 carry when he just broke on him.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, they got to maybe have a little bit more balance. But Kirk Cousins, he got to step up.
Got to.
He got to step up. I thought that maybe Xavier Rhodes in those corners would be able to hold Devontae Adams in check a little bit more than they did, but they didn't. So, Xavier Rhodes, I like him. He's a good corner, but he's more of a physical type of corner. And if he can't really be hands-on with you and beat you up, then, I think he can be had. So,
and that shit don't work on the other physical wide receivers.
It doesn't.
It seems like his antics work, not antics, his technique works on the finesse dudes, like Odell,
right.
Them dudes.
Because you can redirect smaller guys like that. Right. Somebody just as big as you, just as strong as you, that shit ain't flying. It's a hand fight, know.
Exactly. So, but 2-0 for Green Bay. So shout out to them. See if they keep it going. All right, next up, the Colts went down to Tennessee and beat the Titans 19-17. On the day that they retired Steve McNair and Eddie George's jersey, they lost that game at home. Now they went to Cleveland and beat the brakes off of them opening day, but only put up 17 at home. This is Tennessee. The upper team.
And I like we said, I know we said it last week. They not 43 points good. But I think this 17 to 24 points is what you could probably expect from Tennessee on a week-to-week basis, honestly. I mean, the defense did its job. The offense didn't do quite enough to win.
Nope. Random. We were talking. Remember this past summer, we was like, there are no quarterback jobs out there. Man, you kind of look around. There's going to be some jobs available this summer. It's going to be some jobs available.
Things change.
I'm seeing 3 or 4 at this point. So it's going to be an interesting summer to see how this all shakes out. But
now, what I'm interested to see, because now Tennessee's 1-1, so it's probably a little premature to start talking about Ryan Tannehill. But if the offense continues to put up 15, 17 points, then you might start hearing some rumblings, especially if they lose some games. I'm looking at their next few games. They got some possibly some winnable games. They're at Jacksonville. We know they down to they got their second string quarterback with Gardner Minshew, and then they come to Atlanta. They play Buffalo at home, and then they go to the Broncos. They got a late bye. They buy not until November. So these next couple of games, I think, is going to be important for Mariota to show something.
Yeah.
If the rumblings start to come, I don't think he'll be able to hold it together mentally and drown out the noise. I think he'll be affected by it, I should say.
Man, you know what Ryan Tannehill's doing behind Mike Vrabel right now? You know what he's doing?
Hey, Coach.
Hey, I can get it done, coach. You can't keep putting up 17. Let me spin it.
Hey, you know my thing. You know my thing. People, I know you can't see me if you listen on Spreaker or iTunes right now, but I'm warming up the arm, baby. We warming up the arm.
Hey, he probably giving the damn starting defense, probably trying to get him that work in practice too.
and this is a good ass defense. So we'll see. But they're probably gonna have to rely on the defense a lot of games this year.
Yeah.
And that can wear on the defense, because if the offense is not moving the ball and sustaining drives, I don't care how good your defense is. At some point, they're gonna break.
They're gonna get tired. So yeah, it has to happen. All right, next up, the New England Patriots went down to Miami and beat them 43-0. I come away from that game more impressed with the defense than the offense. That defense is something, dog.
Because they've given up 3 points in 2 games.
And who they got next?
Had it on the tip of my tongue. Let me see.
I know they got the Bills in a week.
This week. No, they got the Jets this week.
Oh shit.
Who
the hell playing quarterback?
That dude Falcon, whoever that was in last night, that's who's gonna be the quarterback. And I'm gonna run off their games before they bye. They got a early November bye too, but I'm just gonna run off their opponents. And you tell me where's the biggest threat for them to lose. They got the Jets at home this week. Then they go to Buffalo. They go to the Redskins. They got the Giants coming at the Jets. Cleveland coming to New England. And then they're at Baltimore, which looks like a Sunday night game before they bye.
And what date is that Baltimore game?
That's November 3rd.
So they probably ain't gonna lose a game. Ain't gonna be close to losing a game to November 3rd.
The way it's looking, and if you want to count Baltimore, because we'll see if and I'm hoping he does. We'll see if Lamar Jackson continues to show us what he's been showing us. But we know Bill Belichick and that defense is on a whole other level.
That's the only possible I see from what you said. I mean, the Cleveland goes up there. I don't see that.
Yeah. It's going to be tough, barring injury to Tom Brady. It's going to be tough to beat them.
Bro, if they let's just say they go up to 14 points. Right now they're only giving up 3 points over 2 games. Let's just say they give up 14. They gonna put up 28-35.
I mean, and if AB gets cleared of all this shit he got surrounding him right now, he's going to be learning more of the playbook. He's going to learn more. He's going to get more snaps. If you look at the plays that he ran when he came in, he only ran about maybe 2 or 3 different routes within the plays that he played, and he was effective. He had 5 catches or 4 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown. He should have had 2 touchdowns. Brady missed him in the end zone a couple times. And maybe they just went on the same page as far as where he needed to be. But you can see that connection got a little something already. You got Josh Gordon.
They are so good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Edelman wasn't really involved. Josh Gordon wasn't really involved.
Mm-hmm.
Philip Dorsett looks good this year.
Yeah.
This was his 2nd or 3rd year that he's finally starting to look good there. They ain't really got a tight end to speak of. You still got James White catching out the backfield, and Sony's running the ball.
Sony running. You got a utility guy like Burkhead. I mean, the offensive firepower is there. Now, I want people to stop this 16-0 shit. It's a little too early for that.
Do they play Kansas City this year?
Yeah, because we want to just run their schedule after the bye. It's gonna get a lot tougher. They go to Philly. They got the Cowboys coming in. They go to the Texans. They got the Chiefs coming into Foxborough. Then they play the Bengals, the Buffalo Bills, and the Dolphins to end the season. But that's a 4-game stretch there between that Philly, Dallas, Houston, and Kansas City game where they're gonna have to fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just chill with the 16-0 stuff right now. Just watch them play, and we'll see if we get to that point. Then we can start talking about 16-0 maybe after in December after Thanksgiving.
I know everything looks good on offense and defense, but they really were getting to Brady a little bit down there in Miami. That offensive line don't look as good as it normally does, and I think Isaiah Wynn got put on IR again today.
Maybe I know he hurt his toe.
Yeah, he on IR. That boy can't catch a break, cuz.
Okay,
Just
yeah, I'm seeing it now. Yep, they did place him on IR. Now, did they give him a designated to return?
I didn't see it. But didn't they lose somebody week 1 too on the offensive line?
I want to say it was him. Okay, yeah, he's designated to return. So he can come back by week 9.
Okay.
Um, so we'll see, but I mean, they look like a well-oiled machine right now.
Don't let them go out there and get Trent Williams. Checkers and chess.
Yeah. The only reason I don't think it's gonna happen because I think Washington probably wants way too much for him. And the Patriots they don't lose trades. They not gonna overcompensate for trades. They be like, look, I got a second, I got a third. What you want to do?
Yeah.
That's
you
it.
sure y'all don't need Philip Dorsett? You sure?
Right.
All right, let's keep it moving. Buffalo beat the Giants 28-14 on Sunday. The game that ended Eli Manning's starting tenure with the Giants. All right, I'm gonna have to cape up for Eli right here. I gotta cape up for him. People, Eli ain't been good for a while. We've said it on this show countless times. But this shit here,
this is fuckery.
Can't blame this on him. Last I checked, Eli don't play corner or safety or linebacker
or DN.
None of that. So when the Cowboys was walking all over them week 1, that wasn't on Eli. Hell, I think he had 350 yards in that game. If I'm not mistaken. My thing is, look, I'm okay with y'all transitioning, moving another way. Why couldn't they do this shit during the summer?
To me, I think they know they botched this shit a year or so ago when they took him out and broke his streak or whatever just to put him back in.
Right.
So I think that probably had a little bit to do with it, and they didn't want to throw the rookie in right away. But now you got a case where to me is they pulling the string too early because they want to validate picking Daniel Jones where they picked him. I know he had a decent preseason, but damn it, that's preseason.
He's playing against dudes who work at Home Depot now.
You know what I'm saying? This a different ball game, regular season. So we're gonna see if he actually ready. And, he may be. He may come out to be something good, and everybody will have egg on their face. But you got to show.
I ain't mad at them. Again, they need to see what they have in them. I just don't care for the way they did it. If you drafted the dude 6, hell, let Eli go in March when he can try to find a job. Hell, if they let him go in March, when did Foles get traded? He got traded before the season, before the free agency.
It was before free agency started, yeah.
Yeah, so he was already, so that job was out the way. But hell, he could have went somewhere else. I don't really see Eli as a backup, as a dude trying to help somebody else. I just don't see that.
Yeah, I don't see him as a backup, and I don't really see him as going to a franchise that doesn't have a chance to contend either. Just continue playing. I don't really see that either. So it's going to be
do that TV show with Peyton. Y'all can go around and do that shit because you're good in New York. You won your titles. You're good.
Right.
But I just don't see how that plays out. But shout out to Josh Allen. He's looked a lot better this year. Buffalo is 2-0. They got Cincinnati this week, so they got a real chance of going 3-0. But his throwing motion looks better. White Cam is playing better than real Cam right now.
Ain't that some shit?
Ain't that something? Shout out to him. I had to pick him up in fantasy this week, and he showed up and showed out for me. Shout out to you. All right, next up. I didn't see a lot of this game, but Seattle beat Pittsburgh 28-26. This game here was the end of Ben Roethlisberger's season as he hurt his throwing elbow.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the name of the injury, but I can't pronounce it. It looked like it was going to be some Tommy John type stuff, but he's out for the year. Where do they go, dog? Where does Pittsburgh go?
I don't know because I want to say I had them winning this division, but I'll admit that was partially because I wasn't sure what Lamar Jackson and that offense was going to look like year 2, and I didn't see the Browns hype equating to real wins on the field. Right. So I think I just kind of took Pittsburgh by default. But we talked about it. We knew that Pittsburgh was going to have issues. James Conner is good, but he's not Lev Bell.
Juju. He can't even diet Lev at this point. He's like Lev.
you know, and Juju's good, but we talked all season about what's gonna happen. AB ain't there no more. What's gonna happen when all the coverages roll into you,
Yep.
and all the coverages roll into him? They're having to throw the ball to Dante Moncrief, and he continues to try to catch the ball with his face mask. So I don't know what's gonna happen with this team going forward. Now Mason Rudolph, they seem to be all in on him because they traded their first round pick next year for Minka Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick, real good DB, safety, wherever they're going to play him. It looks like they're going to play him at safety. At least for this week, they say he's going to be at safety. Maybe they'll switch it up when he gets more acclimated to their defensive scheme. But
last night when that dropped, I was like, that's a good trade. That's solid. He's a good player. But then the more time I had to think about it, then we talked this morning. I was like, yeah, they really putting their chips in the middle of the table for homie. Because if they're not good with this class coming out,
right,
they can get their future. But apparently they think homie is their future. I mean, he's been there, 2 years? So
yeah, he got drafted in 2018, not this past draft, but the one before that. Yeah. And I want to say the one before that, they drafted Josh Dobbs. So they've taken quarterbacks, second, third round or so, the last 2 out of the last 3 drafts, I want to say. So maybe they are, thinking that one of them should be okay. I actually went back before we started recording just to see what the draft grade on Mason Rudolph was. He had a pretty high grade. Basically came within the parameters of the analysts or the scouts think he can be an NFL starter at some point. Sure. And some people are optimistic because James Washington is there, and him and James Washington played together at Oklahoma State. Yeah. So, we'll see if that translates. We'll know if the familiarity is there. So we'll see how it goes. But this week,
got all the personalities out the room, all of them. AB, Lev, and Ben. We're gonna see if he can coach.
Got to win now. Got to win football games now.
Yeah,
just got to win.
You can't just win the press conference. Got to win some games now.
Right. And, and talk about Seattle a little bit. I mean, the score was 28-26. Seattle should have won this game handedly. Carson and Russell Wilson, whoever you want to put the blame on, they had a couple of fumbles on their end of the field that actually put Pittsburgh with a very short field and let them get back into it. So to me, this game was not really as close as the score indicates. But
I like what I'm saying on DK Metcalf. He's coming around a lot better than I thought he would early.
He did. I watched his catches from Sunday. The touchdown, it was his strip. It was a fly route. And we know the straight line speed is something that we saw from the combine that he's going to excel at that. There was no bumping on the line, no misdirection. He took off, and the ball was there.
That big dude, cuz.
And you gotta try. He big, but hey, he ain't immune to contact. So you gotta touch him up a little bit. But nobody touched him on that route at all, and Russell Wilson dropped it down to him. Yeah. Seattle's having running problems again. So what's new?
Still ain't got no protection. Again.
Hey, but they put up 28 points some way.
So hey, that's what they do. All right,
hey, at the end of the day, whatever problem Seattle got, they 2-0.
Yeah, they're 2-0. I take that 2-0 right now today. I take an ugly 1-1. I just want to win, dog.
There you go.
I'm trying to eat a dub.
There you go.
All right, the Dallas Cowboys beat the Washington Redskins 31-21. Damn, that game didn't seem that close.
No, it really didn't. I thought that Zeke would take over this game. I mean, he had over 100 yards. I want to say like 115 or so. But Dak came out spinning the ball, people.
Hey, man. Hey. I was sitting there looking at that shit like, damn, is this Dak's team now?
Dak was spinning that thing. Now, they lost a big weapon. Gallup is out for a few weeks. He got hurt. Yeah. So we're gonna see if he continues. And Zeke may not be in all the way shape. Even if he ain't in shape and he's still over 100 yards, good God, what's gonna happen when he get into game shape? But that looked good. I give credit where credit is due. Yeah. So that contract need to be coming real soon, Jared.
All he doing is costing himself money. That's all he doing. Dak got 7 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
No picks, right? Or did
he
throw
might have one? He threw one Sunday, and it might have been on a tip. So I don't have nothing on Washington. I guess what we kind of talked about yesterday on the side. Listen to your uncles. Jordan Reed might want to go ahead and sit it on down, cuz.
I mean, another concussion. This dude can't stay on the field, man, for anything. Um, what can you say?
Yeah. Oh, Purple Jesus scored another touchdown and passed Jim Brown. He's
Okay.
Purple Jesus, ain't he?
Oh well, forever and always. Talking about Adrian Peterson, people.
Yeah. So
Now
he
I
got
heard some
107,
things.
if I'm not mistaken.
I heard some things, and I heard this from some coworkers. Actually, I didn't even look any further into it. I meant to, but I heard that there was some talk or some rumors that they don't want to really put Adrian Peterson in full time or really feed them like they should because they don't want to pay him the incentives that are in his contract.
So you
Um,
telling me Daniel Snyder been paying bums all these years, paying these old vets just because they had a name, and this dude can actually help y'all, man. Look. And they know he need the bread. Everybody know he need the bread.
right.
Man, that's some sucker shit right there. They might still be paying Bruce Smith and Dion from that year they had them when they were old and washed up and flabby. Man, stop.
Hey man, that's the Redskins for you. I've been Bill O'Brien is one of the guys that you know how I feel about him. Jay Gruden is on that list as well. I really don't understand I don't understand why the fuck he still has a job. But then again, I understand why he still has a job. But
well, he's Diet John. So I guess they expect he ain't Gruden. Hell, Gruden ain't Gruden. But
Jay is trash.
Yeah, he's big trash. But Dallas got it done. We're gonna see what happens going forward. It's really starting to look like Dak's team though. If he keep playing like this, people, and the defense ain't even really got right yet.
Yeah.
I think they get what's the old boy they traded for, Robert Quinn. They get him back after his suspension this week. Seems like a couple other dudes are hurt. They gonna get back. So, man,
And that's gonna be big.
Dallas.
And that's going to be big for a lot of teams too. Within these next couple of weeks, getting people off of these 2 and 4 game suspensions. And we're talking about some key players in some cases.
Yeah.
If Patrick Peterson is at Arizona Sunday, does all those deep balls that Lamar Jackson got off? Does that happen?
Right.
Things like that can definitely shift how some of these games go when some of these guys get back into the fold.
Well, that's a good segue into the next game. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Arizona Cardinals 23-17. Well, it wasn't 5 touchdowns. It wasn't that. But I want to say Lamar had 250 and 120 on the ground and a touchdown. Hey, don't let this boy figure it out, people. And he seemed like he's getting it together.
Mm-hmm. And I know. Of course, he's a running quarterback. He's black. And you want to instantly compare him to Michael Vick, Robert Griffin, Cap. I'm sorry, he reached defenses better than all 3 of them dudes.
Way better. People act like he didn't do this at Louisville.
Yeah,
he was solid at Louisville. Not that last year, but I think the junior year was when he won the Heisman.
Mm-hmm.
He was solid there. He played under a pro-style coach. He ran pro sets, but
yeah. And if you want to say anything about him, I mean, his throwing motion is a little unorthodox. He kind of releases the ball at a 3/4 mark versus overhead.
Yeah.
And sometimes that could probably affect the trajectory of the ball.
Yeah.
But hey man, Lamar here putting in work. They haven't played the best of teams so far. But at the end of the day, these are NFL teams. You can't just step out of the bed and go out on the NFL and throw for 250, run for 120. I'm sorry, it just don't happen that way. You got to have some talent.
We're gonna find out a lot on Sunday.
Now Sunday they got a big game coming up Sunday, right? They
They go to Kansas City.
Go to Kansas City. Okay, so we'll probably talk about this Thursday, but just preview real quick. I would rely on the running game a little bit more. Don't try to get into
sideline.
Yeah, don't try to get into a shootout with Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Don't come out here. And John Harbaugh is a good coach. I think he understands. He ain't one of these Rudy Poo dudes that's gonna come out and say, "Hey, I'm gonna prove that Lamar Jackson is this guy and he can keep up with Patrick Mahomes. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, did you just drop Rudy Poo?
I dropped the Rudy Poo on their ass.
Hey, but if I'm not mistaken, they almost beat them up in Kansas City last year. Did they beat them? After Kareem Hunt got suspended, they might have won that game or got close.
You're right. I can't remember. And Kansas City's defense still don't look good. You know what I'm saying? The Raiders actually came out. We'll talk about that here in a second. The Raiders came out and looked good early, but then they kind of folded second quarter and they lost the game really in one quarter. But
right.
Baltimore can very well go up there and win that game. If that secondary gonna play like shit, hey, Hollywood Brown, he seems to be open a hell of a lot already. 2 games in, so we're gonna see Willie Snead out there trying to score touchdowns, and he ain't did that in years.
Mark Andrews at tight end looks solid for him. Mark Ingram's running the ball, but like you said, keep that young boy on the sideline, cause what you said, he a bad motherfucker, man.
Hey man, you got it on here. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing for Lamar Jackson in Baltimore right now. If you had asked me 2 weeks in, I would change my pick. Obviously, because Ben's out, but even if Ben was still in, Ravens have looked like the best team in this division 2 weeks in.
Absolutely, but yeah, that's gonna be a statement. I'm looking forward to that one on Sunday. Kyler Murray, he played. He's a rookie.
He don't look bad. He didn't look bad Sunday at all. That ball jumps out of his hand. He accurate. The only issue I have with Arizona right now is, to me, they're not running the ball enough. They depend on him to throw the ball way too much. Feed David
playing that though. Boy.
Yeah, that's not going to hold up in the NFL. I know this is clean. Kingsbury, he kind of new to the league or whatever. He wasn't all that good of a college coach to start with, but I don't know if that pace can hold up in the NFL, especially with that line. Yeah. So I feed David Johnson. You have a solid weapon there. Feed him and feed off him a little bit more. That's going to make things a lot easier for Kyler Murray.
Damn, did Crabtree play Sunday?
He played. I don't know if he had a target or a catch, but he played. Okay. He was out there. Okay. Yeah, he was definitely out there.
Cool. All right, next up, this was kind of a surprise. I expected Houston to put some points up, but Houston won 13-12 over the Jaguars. I think I actually last week, at what point was the Jags defense going to show up? Well, they showed up on Sunday, and that was on the road. Showed up, right. only gave up 13 points to a high-scoring offense, and they still couldn't get it done. They're playing without their backup. They're playing with a backup quarterback. So,
Hey man, based on that outfit that Gardner Minshew, the backup quarterback for Jaguars, based on that outfit that he came on the plane with, hey man, I'm pulling for that dude. He's like an '80s porn star.
Yeah, absolutely. He got swag about him. But let's talk about what we talked about on the side. We have this. We don't agree on this. Okay. I don't like going for the win when I can tie it. I don't like that because I would feel like that would hurt more to lose when I could have took my chances in overtime. But in most cases, you tend to say you're good with that, at least on the road, trying to steal it.
Yeah, so conventional thinking, most people will say if you at home, go ahead and go for the tie. Momentum will carry you in overtime. If you're on the road, go ahead and try to steal it. I don't really care if you're on the road or at home so much. I look at how the game is kind of going at the time. And even as I was sitting here at the house and as Jacksonville was driving that last drive, I said, I think they should go. If they score, I think they should go for 2 and get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Especially with a backup quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a problem with them going for 2. I didn't have too much of a problem with the play call. I felt that because if you compare it to what y'all did on the 1 or the 2 yard line when y'all ran the stretch play, which I hate on the 1 or 2 yard line, they went straight up the gut with Fournette, which is their weapon. I get it. I just wish he would have, on that 2-point conversion, stuck the ball out
Right.
He didn't really do that. If he sticks that ball out, he gets in. He's got to understand. He's got to understand the scenario at the time. There's really no chance you're taking as far as fumbling on a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Versus trying to get a touchdown where they can pick it up and return it. You know, if they pick up a fumble in the middle of the field on a 2-point conversion and return it just for 2 points, then so be it.
Right.
You know, but you got to try to get that too. So I like Marrone showing a little bit of heart and going forward. It just didn't work. Now we can't talk about this game. Now I'll say this too about Houston. I thought they had a little bit of a hangover from the New Orleans Monday night game.
Yeah.
Because they way better than 13.
Won that game. Yeah, that's right. They got took from that late kick. That's right.
Right. They way better than 13 points a game. You know, it's as good as Jacksonville defense played. They way better than 13 points. So I thought they had a little bit of a hangover and they escaped with a win. Now we can't leave this game without talking about the blow up on the sideline between Jalen Ramsey and Doug Marrone. I'm on the record. You know, I like my players a little crazy. I ain't gonna front. I like them a little insane in the head, and not wrapped too damn tight. Because when they get on the field, that dog is gonna come out.
Right.
Jalen Ramsey going at the coach on the sideline, that didn't look good.
Nope.
Especially from the rumors that I'm hearing that it was over a challenge. Jalen wanted him to challenge a play that he didn't challenge. That's a little stupid and immature. I mean, for it to get to that degree, you know, I didn't really get that. But I give Doug Marrone credit because I want to say, as a matter of fact, last week we sat here and talked about, at least I did, about him being kind of soft, not really having the backbone. He went right back at Jalen. You know, Jalen screamed at him coming off the field. He went right over there and went back at him. So I kind of appreciate that from Doug Marrone. Like, yeah, you're not gonna walk over me. I'm still the fucking coach of this team. You still a player, you know. So I respect Doug Marrone for that.
What the hell is he gonna do with all them wild ass dudes on that team?
Yeah, and you know, and that's the thing. You know, it's one thing to come back at him, you know, in that instance or once or twice. He don't want to have to do this the whole fucking season.
So 2 weeks in, you had Miles Jack having to get dragged off the field.
Mm-hmm.
And the second week, you on the sideline going at it with Jalen Ramsey. Now, you just paid Miles Jack, if I'm not mistaken, and you're up to pay Jalen. Well,
that ain't happening.
That ain't happening. And unfortunately, you know, that was a solid move on his part to not let him chump him, but I don't think Marrone's going to be there after this year.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because, I mean, this season, I ain't going to say it's over, but it's over.
We said we were going to talk about that, too. You know, 2 weeks in, some of these teams are just done. But, yeah, I kind of feel like they're done.
I mean, when you lose your starting quarterback right off the rip and you were already a fringe team, you know, we really don't know what Jacksonville was going to look like, even if Nick Foles is still in the game. It was still questioned, you know, because we've seen Nick Foles a lot throughout his career. And, yeah, he took Philly to the Super Bowl on that playoff run, and he looked good in some other instances. But for the better part of his career, Nick Foles has not been good.
Right.
So, you know, for him to come to a brand new team with no weapons, I think we're still forgetting that part. No receiving weapons, really. It was still going to be, I think, an uphill battle for him to show people that he could take this team to the playoffs. It was still going to be dependent on the defense. And if you got, like you said, all the wild animals are on defense, except for, Leonard Fournette, he on offense, but all the wild animals are on defense.
I wonder what the defensive meetings are like with all them dudes in that same room, pointing fingers at each other. Jesus.
Bunch of shit talking. Probably a bunch of shit talking and rewinding plays. Say, hey, look at that hit I did. You know.
What we got here? The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Raiders 28-10, and this really should be more, but the Chiefs took their foot off the gas at the half.
I wanted to go. I guess we'll go back to it later on. I was gonna say what we can go ahead and knock it out since we already talking about them. Going back to Jalen Ramsey.
Oh yeah,
in the trade. So he's demanded a trade, and you're looking at rumors all day, and so far, some teams have backed out, according to some people, because the Jacksonville prices, their asking price is too high.
I don't get that. If you know you're not gonna pay somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you know that. Why do they jack the price up? That's like that shit San Diego's LA's doing with Melvin Gordon.
Because now in Jacksonville's case, I could say, I'll say this: he's in his third year. He's a first round pick, so you got next year, and you got his fifth round option.
Yeah,
and you got the franchise tag, so they can hold out until they, until they get the deal that they want. To keep a top corner there. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. We'll see with Tom Coughlin, but I don't see them paying Jalen Ramsey what they want to pay him long term. Not as long as Tom Coughlin is in charge.
We said on this show last week, we was like, look, if this shit start to go the other way, they're gonna trade Jalen. The boy showed up to camp in a Brinks truck.
Yeah, that's not the type of shit.
We knew he showed up in a Brinks truck, so you know what he looking for. Zeke done set the table in regards to, hey, I'm on my rookie deal, but I'm ready to get paid now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they move. From what it says, they're gonna try to move him quick. But
yeah, I'm on the Bleacher Report feed right now, and the word is that they're looking for 2 first-round picks.
For 5 years of control, if I'm a winning team, if I'm Philly or Kansas City, or a first ain't nothing but a high second. Technically, as high as if you're winning.
Yeah, but 2 of them, 2 first.
If they say 2, they'll technically take a 1 and a 3, or a 1 and a 4. You come at the table with that, they'll take that. So, and Philly could use them. They could use another corner.
Philly
had him on Julio Sunday night.
Yeah, because Philly secondary has been kind of garbage for the last couple of years. We know the Chiefs secondary ain't hitting on shit. Those are 2 teams with potent offenses that expect to be Super Bowl contenders that need a shutdown corner like Jalen Ramsey. So you're right.
Yeah. So, and knowing Tom Coughlin, he'll trade him to the Miami Dolphins to spite him.
I thought about Miami today. There's a lot of, as the Dolphins continue to move players and gather picks, I saw something today that says that they plan on spending big money in free agency next year.
Who going there?
I think with NFL it's a little bit different than say NBA when it comes to the money. Because NFL players, they want to get their bread.
I just want homie to stop. At this point, stop going in front of the press conference saying we trying to win. Stop. Just stop. Your team is tanking. It's not you. It's the ownership. They're tanking to get better. They just keep sending you out there saying, hey, we're trying to win every game. That's like saying I'm going to war, but y'all keep taking bullets out of my gun. You ain't going to win. So, but we're going to see what happens with Jalen. I think a big date to look forward to is the trade deadline. I think Melvin Gordon's going to get traded. I really think that's going to happen. He'll probably get traded.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Melvin Gordon, but I can see Jalen definitely getting traded. It's just a matter of, like you said, it's a matter of when. It's not going to happen before this week's game because they play on Thursday. So he'll be out there against the Titans. But I'm expecting that to go down sometime soon.
Absolutely. Okay, back to, I think we went back to that, and let's get back to these Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs 28-10 over the Raiders. That score seems light. I thought it seemed like they've scored a lot of points in that game. But I guess it was only them 4 touchdowns.
They scored all the points in the second quarter. Mahomes threw all 4 touchdowns in the second quarter. Nothing in the first, nothing in the third, nothing in the fourth. And the Raiders scored their 10 points in the first quarter off their first 2 drives, I want to say. So the second half of this game wasn't really even worth watching.
Bruh, they out there looking like a video game. I mean, and it wasn't even Sammy Watkins this week. Sammy didn't kick their ass. Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, it was what's his name? Robinson. He had like 6 catches for 172 or some shit, 2 touchdowns.
I know that dude's been in the league. I've seen him on other teams. He was out there mossing dudes on Sunday.
Yeah.
Mecole Hardman. He technically, Mecole had 2 touchdowns. 1 got called back.
Okay.
And,
I
Patrick
think
Mahomes.
yeah, and I hate that the Raiders, because the Raiders, like I said, they played good defense the first game. I would have liked to see what would have happened had Jonathan Abrams still been in the lineup. You know, he got hurt first week, so he was out. Again, it's hard. It's when you have good safeties on the bench or on IR, it really does hurt. We see a lot of these teams getting beat by deep balls because they don't have safety help. It's just I would have liked to see how it would have gone had that second quarter not have happened. Now it does concern me that with the way that the Chiefs defense is, that the Raiders can put up more than 10 points after the first quarter. I mean, they didn't put up any points after the first quarter.
Well, one thing that's happening again, and Andy Reid ain't fucking with that running game. You know, he'll tend to forget about running the ball.
Yeah.
Damian Williams has not looked good this year. You know, Shea, they're just not running the ball well. So, you know, if they come across a solid defense, we'll find out a whole lot on Sunday. We'll find out a good bit because Baltimore has a solid defense. Now, of course, he went down to Jacksonville, you know, took care of them first week of the season. Homie's looking like a cheat code at quarterback. He's looking like a cheat code.
And you got Tyreek Hill recruiting Jalen Ramsey.
Right.
So, right. Hey, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, you know, it's all about making the best deal. You know, a lot of these teams be saying, I ain't going to trade them in conference. I wouldn't care.
You know, now that I think about it, in conference, I don't care. In division, you know, is another thing. Outside of in division, I'm looking for the best deal.
Yeah.
You know, especially if I'm not a contender. Right. So yeah, I wouldn't care about in conference. I'm sitting here thinking about the corners, and it got out a little bit last year, and it kind of got swept under the rug, and it's been quiet ever since. I wouldn't put past Patrick Peterson being traded out of Arizona.
They were going to trade him before the draft, year before last. You remember he was in and or was it this year? He was in and out. I want to be traded. Now I'm gonna be here.
Right.
Yeah. Hell, the way it's looking, it might be some vets on the move. Cincinnati, y'all pretty solid at wide receiver right now. Why would you pay AJ Green, who's hurt again? If somebody give you a third for him, take it.
Yeah, if I'm AJ Green, anything outside of just some astronomical money that I wouldn't get anywhere else, I'm not signing a contract with Cincinnati.
But what he say? I want to be here. This is where I want to be.
I'm about to say he one of those dudes. I'm loyal.
And there is no honor in being loyal to losing people. That need to be a T-shirt.
Hey, or unless you live by the Andrew Bynum motto, it's a bank in every city.
Every city. Okay, this next game here, the Chicago Bears beat the Denver Broncos 16-14.
Trash.
This game off when Denver went up. I was like, okay, they won. It's like 30 seconds left. Mitch Trubisky is not about to get them down the field to even attempt the field goal.
Right.
The end, but from what I've been hearing, they got screwed. You know what happened at the end?
You're talking about Denver, right?
Yeah.
They got fucked. The Bears were only. I mean, they Trubisky threw a pass to I think Allen Robinson to get them in field goal range, but a play or two before that kept a drive alive was a roughing the passer call on Bradley Chubb that was horrible. I mean, straight bullshit. I mean, he didn't have his body weight on top of him and drive him to the ground. He didn't take 2 steps after the ball was released and still hit him. I mean, it was pretty bullshit. It was pretty bullshit. And I was surprised that they made that.
They probably didn't expect Mitchell to get it done or the kicker. Like he's still gonna screw it up. We're good.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Chicago they escaped with one of those, and the jubilation if you saw the jubilation on the sidelines when they won, they knew they escaped with one. Right. They knew they escaped with one. But the bigger problem out of this game is the high-priced defensive player. I just talked about Bradley Chubb. He in his second year. But Von Miller on one side, Khalil Mack on the other. Now, Khalil Mack did have 1 sack, but he was pretty much invisible this game. Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, again, no sacks, again. 2 games in a row, Denver, Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, neither one of them have a sack. That shit can't happen.
There was kind of some rumblings around draft time They might try to get off of Von Miller's money. You know, it was growing.
Hey, they'd be a damn fool.
Well, you know, we're talking about John Elway.
That's true. He don't know how to he don't know how to evaluate quarterback talent. Yeah. John Elway is not the best GM. Sorry.
Yeah, they're not going to fire the legend. All
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
The big game, the 4:00 game, the emotional game, the Saints and the Rams. Well, this game did not go the way Fox envisioned it to happen because Drew Brees got hurt. What, about 4 or 5 minutes into the first quarter?
I say it wasn't even midway through the first quarter. The whole 4:00 time slot was trash.
Oh, those games was trash.
Because I know the Saints and the Rams and the Bears and the Broncos, both of those games were 6-3 for the longest.
The Chiefs was pretty much over at the half. They pretty much won. So yeah, them games was the L. And one thing you notice, when the games are bad and Troy Aikman has to find shit to talk about, he gets grumpier and grumpier.
It is not fun for anybody. It's not fun for anybody. And off topic a little bit before we touch on this game a little bit, I meant to reach out to the NFL and Red Zone today via tweet. I don't know if you've noticed it. I noticed it the first couple of weeks. I want NFL Red Zone to stop showing the majority of the game that is already on national TV. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
None whatsoever.
You know what I'm saying? Show it when they score. Right. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You're going to score, but focus on the games that people can't see. It just doesn't make any sense to me. No, all right, that's my rant on that.
Very good point. Very good point. But the Rams got it done. It's the Teddy Bridgewater era for the next 6 weeks. We were just talking Sunday morning when what's his name? The coach.
Sean Payton.
When Sean Payton got his extension. And I was like, damn, I thought he was going to wait to see what Dallas was going to do. He was like, I told you he wasn't going to do that. I said, well, damn, because Brees can't play forever.
Yeah.
Brees gets hurt. Now, he's coming back in 6 weeks. But this is a preview of what he could be looking at in the foreseeable future going forward. With no Drew Brees. Now, you got Michael Thomas. You got Kamara. You got a serviceable defense, but you have to figure out this quarterback situation if Teddy can't get it done for you. So, Teddy came off the bench. He wasn't ready. Now he's going to have first team reps this week. But what did you think about the way he looked Sunday?
I didn't think he looked too good. He looked like somebody that was thrown in the game in the middle of a game that didn't get a lot of reps during the week. That's what he looked like.
Teddy ain't played meaningful snaps since 2015.
Right. And I think I want to say that he's only thrown between preseason and regular games. He's only thrown 50 passes, maybe not even 50 passes since 2015. So he is not
probably in week 17 when they let him start last year.
I forgot about that.
30 of them was then.
So and I don't know what's going to happen. Chris Carter, I was listening to, I was watching him and Nick Wright this morning, or maybe yesterday, one of the two. But he brought up a pretty good point about Teddy's arm strength, that he's not really a guy that can throw balls up the seams and things like that. And outside of Michael Thomas, we know the receiving options in New Orleans are just all right. You got Ted Ginn, but Ted Ginn's a deep threat. So that's going to be very interesting to see how Sean Payton kind of tries to build his offense around Teddy's strengths for these next 6 weeks or however long it's going to be. Now, I look at their schedule over the next 6 weeks, which actually leads right into the bye. So if Drew is coming back at the 6 week mark, that'll be perfect. I'm looking at these games. I'm thinking they can maybe find a way to split and go 3-3. They're at the Seahawks this week. Then they got 2 home games against Dallas and the Bucks. Then they're at Jacksonville, at the Bears, and then they've got Arizona coming in. I think they could
lose all 6 of them.
They can lose. They could lose all 6, but with the defense, the defense is going to have to step up. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. I still think there's enough there on offense not to be 30 points, Drew Brees type offense, but 20, 24 points, I think that can still happen. Especially if the defense gets some takeaways and give Teddy some short fields. So if they can salvage 3-3, and then Drew Brees come back after the bye and he's ready to go after the season with no ill effects from the injury, then I think they'll still be in shape. Good shape, rather.
This could be a stupid question, but I gotta ask. Like, you can't lift weights to help arm strength. I'm being serious. I mean, you know.
I just think I don't know. I just think it's something about you either have arm strength from young or you don't have it. You know, because I've seen cats that are slim and skinny who can chunk that thing.
Right.
I've seen big dudes who can't throw a lick.
Right.
You know, so you would think, you know, hey, I got muscles, I can throw the ball far. It's a lot with technique and things like that. And Teddy Bridgewater, he's got another kind of funky release, you know, that is awkward. And that plays a part into it too. But the ball does not jump out of his hands like it jumps out of a lot of quarterbacks' hands. And I think that could maybe be a problem.
One thing I'm looking that I see as a positive with this, at least. Correct me if I'm wrong. When he was in Minnesota, weren't they playing outside, or did they split some of that time outside and some of that in the dome?
Well, that year that he got hurt, where I want to say Blair Walsh missed that field goal that should have took them either into the playoffs or next round or something.
They were in the playoffs playing Seattle. They should have won.
Okay, they were playing outside that year because of their new stadium was getting built, so they played in that small stadium. Or no, they played at University of Minnesota Stadium that year. Remember? So they were playing outside all of that year. So yeah, playing outside in the wintertime in Minnesota, and if your arm ain't already the strongest, you're not gonna look that great.
So he might be okay playing indoors with the weapons. I mean, people, let's keep it 100. Drew Brees may have 5 deep throws a game, if that many.
Hey, that's it. We before the season started, we gave him this year, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the window.
So
if y'all sitting there saying, "Oh, he can't get the ball down the field," shit, Drew Brees can't either. He be sitting there praying that ball down the field. So
that's true.
We'll see what happens.
Teddy needs to focus on, Michael Thomas is open, even when Michael Thomas ain't open. Yes. Just make sure you put it in the right spots.
Shout out to Jared Cook once again for finessing another team into believing in his talent. Man, this dude here, his finesse just ridiculous.
Staying strong, right?
Yes.
Finesse game strong.
Let's run this thing on out. The Sunday night game. Very good game. The Atlanta Falcons beat the Philadelphia Eagles 24-20. This was a good game.
Was it?
You didn't think so? It was back and forth late. I mean, I didn't like the turnovers and, that stuff, but it was entertaining at least.
I'm laughing because you know how I do on Sunday nights.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
I went to bed at halftime. I said, man, Philly, Eagles are dropping like flies. Falcons got the lead. No way that they lose this game. I chunked the deuces. Only to wake up the next morning. Only to wake up the next morning to see that it took a Julio Jones jailbreak screen on 4th and 3 or whatever it was, basically for them to win the game. And I heard they still almost gave it away.
Yeah, they did.
After that.
Yep, they sure did. Weren't we talking last week about Nelson Aguilar, how he's like the forgotten man? Everybody got hurt like the first quarter. Yeah. Aguilar comes in and he's open, making incredible catches. Man, look.
Philly's deep at a lot of positions, and wide receiver apparently is one of
them. Matt Ryan. Man, some of them interceptions he was throwing on Sunday. Mm-hmm. What the entire fuck was he seeing on some of them interceptions?
And like I said, I didn't really see it this game, but I said the same thing first game.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you looking like old Matt Ryan. Like, what the fuck?
He kept them in this game. He kept Philly in this game. The one he threw in the end zone. Like, what are you doing? what are you doing? What are you looking at? Devontae Freeman looks bad for a second week in a row. I don't know about you, but he looked heavy. He looks heavy to me.
I mean, we're seeing a thing with a lot of these teams that are either losing both their first 2 games or splitting and like barely getting the win that they got. There's a lot of no running going on in the league, or no run games going on, and it's going to be a problem for some of these teams.
Yeah, Julio did his thing. He had 2 touchdowns, and Calvin Ridley is Calvin Ridley. Young man's coming together, but Carson Wentz didn't look great either.
No, not at all.
I mean, I know they had to push their chips in the middle of the table with him. They had to. How many games do you think this dude start this year?
Hey, man. They're going to have to wrap him in bubble wrap the way that it's looking.
I think they'd be lucky to get 14.
Okay.
Lucky.
Yeah, and he had injury concerns and things in college. Yeah. I won't say he missed the whole season. They talk about how good he was at North Dakota State, and he was, but he had some injuries there. So it's one thing to be a position player and have injuries, but once the injuries start piling up at quarterback, and the way that he plays, I ain't gonna say it's reckless, but it's borderline sometimes. Some of the things he does, and I don't think they can dial him back because you don't want to take away what makes him special. So it's going to always be, I think, something that Philly's going to have to keep an eye on as far as his, getting him hurt and putting him in situations where he can take too many hits and get dinged up.
He might want to learn to get rid of the ball in some of these cases. That would be helpful.
And yeah, a little bit. You're right.
This vaunted offensive line that they have might want to protect them just a tad more.
Right.
They might just want to. But, we're going to see what happens with Philly.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing these notes last night during the Monday night game, so I didn't include them. Cleveland got their first win of the season. They beat the depleted Jets. The Jets were down to Trevor Siemian, and he got knocked out first half, if I'm not mistaken. So now they're down to their third quarterback. Some dude named, Falcone, whatever.
Yeah. Now, before we go to Cleveland, I want to point out two things about the Eagles.
Go ahead.
Alshon Jeffrey, calf injury. He's, I think, week to week. Deshaun Jackson, another dude that stayed hurt and banged up a little bit. You can't really depend on him for 16 games. He's got an abdominal injury where he's definitely going to be out the next 2 weeks. And from some things that I read, he is taking the shortcut route to get back on the field. One physician recommended he go ahead and have surgery, which would have kept him out about 6 to 8 weeks. But he wants to get back out on the field as soon as possible. So he's going a different route to get back out there sooner. I don't like that.
No.
Yeah, I don't like that, especially when you kind of a one-trick pony anyway.
Right. If he can't, I ain't never really seen him be a route runner. So,
a deep comeback is about the extent of his route tree.
Yeah, bubble screen. Hell, I don't even remember seeing him take a lot of slants because they ain't putting his little ass across the middle.
No, you ain't running him across the middle. No, sir.
So yeah, that's practice got to be pretty easy for him with just 2 or 3 routes. He's capable of running. But all right, let's wrap this thing up. The Monday night game, Cleveland won. The Jets are depleted. That's about all I have.
Cleveland, I'm concerned. Now, it's one thing for me to not to believe all the hype and everything, which a lot of people didn't. It's another thing to be facing a third-string quarterback and a Jets defense that's without Quentin Williams. They didn't bench Tremaine Johnson, which they just gave $72 million to last year. CJ Mosley's out, and outside of the one-handed catch that Odell made early to put them in scoring range, they still only got a field goal. And the slant that he took to the house, they didn't look good on offense.
I'm looking forward to how that plays out, too, because if Odell's getting all the balls, I think Landry had like 3 balls this game. Mm-hmm. He might have had like 3 or 4 first game. This dude's used to catching like 105, 110.
Yeah, 8 to 10 balls a game pretty much, you know what I'm saying, from that slot position.
We're going to kind of see how that plays when the ball ain't really moving because you're trying to get Odell going. Baker almost got Njoku's neck broke last night.
Yeah, Baker didn't. I think he threw for like 300, but 160 of that was to Odell, and Odell made those plays. Well, I'll give Baker credit on the deep ball because he put that ball right where it needed to be. But that's still an excellent catch by Odell. I didn't like what I saw from them in the offense.
At this point, with no Ben, the division is right in front of them. It's going to come down to Baker Mayfield, a better quarterback right now than Lamar Jackson.
No.
Hey. I'm with you. I'm with you. And
I mean, we only 2 games in, but so far,
And Freddie Kitchens does not look like a head coach. Freddie Kitchens was like that dude in high school who was the shit. But 30 years later, he's still talking about what he did.
Right. And don't even look like an athlete. Like, dude, you like 80 pounds heavier. When I tell
Right.
you, like I said, he look like he can fish real good and work on carburetors
Hey, $50 on a bottle of wild turkey, he got you.
all day.
And that's who they took as their head coach. All right. What else? We talked about Jalen Ramsey. We talked about Minka Fitzpatrick. We ain't got time to talk about it, but I believe Tim Tebow is a sucker.
Pretty much.
So that's all I got.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's easy for. I mean, people you already know because everybody's been talking about it over the weekend rather. It's easy for Tim Tebow to say he don't think college athletes should be paid, and he was never looking to be paid when you come from money and you come from a pretty good background. So it's easy for you to say that, and you sound pretty fucking tone deaf, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's a big difference. You walk into a stadium where everybody got your number on your jersey and all that shit. The coach making millions of dollars and you broke. You ain't got. I'm sorry. Times change.
Exactly. I forgot who it was on Twitter, but somebody brought up a good point and said people like Tim Tebow, because this is trending to where it's gonna be players are gonna start being compensated. They're not gonna be able to get around it at some point. I don't know if it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, but it's coming. And players that think like Tim Tebow, you should have the option to opt out of being paid for your likeness. If you don't think it's a good idea, you don't think it's great, then don't get paid. Right. Okay, when it comes to the point where the players are given that option, you opt out. Don't get paid.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Yep,
I agree. So, and shout out to Jay Billis. Jay Billis is a man of the people. But he went at Tim Tebow about this. Said it's immoral for them not to pay them. But maybe Tim Tebow is setting himself up for a political career. Maybe that's what he's doing.
I would say bullshit, but in this climate, in this world, anything is possible.
Hey, I just thought about this just now. If Teddy pisses in bed, they're not gonna put Taysom Hill in, are they? Let him take over his quarterback.
Did they really done? They really done if that happens. I know I've said it plenty of times, but I'll keep repeating it. You know the dude ain't your future quarterback if you put him on special teams.
Nah.
You are not looking at him as your future quarterback. Sorry.
And your man is Peyton is out there disrespecting that Hall of Famer from your team, talking about he is Steve Young. I'm telling you, Taysom Hill is not Steve Young.
Stop it. Please stop it.
All right, let's get up.
And I love Taysom Hill. I love what he brings to the table, but he ain't no starting quarterback from what I saw.
All right. Last thing, UGA get it done this weekend?
Against Notre Dame, I think so. I think it's going to end up being the same thing that bites Notre Dame in the ass, that always kind of bites the ass when they play these top 10 teams. Lack of athletes. That seems to always get them. They have a little bit better of a time and chance when they play some of the ranked Big Ten teams because it's more of a physical game. When it comes to these ACC top-notch teams, SEC top-notch teams, it's too many athletes on the field in most cases. For Notre Dame, I'm expecting Georgia to win by at least 10 to 14 points.
Hey, you out of town, folks. Don't be down there buying tickets from folks y'all don't know on the street. Them tickets is fugazi.
Got him.
Don't get caught out there. Let's go.
Got him. All right, people. All right, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, that has been episode, again, 188. Uncle Hey, your boy Diego Barishnikov. We've recapped NFL Week 2. We went over some overreactions and real talk things. We went over the news and the notes. By the time we come on here Thursday to give our picks in a couple of days, we'll see if anybody's been moved. Again, I don't expect Jalen Ramsey to be moved by the Thursday night game within 2 days. And not much else is really on the burner right now. Maybe I know Antonio Brown's accuser, got interviewed for several hours yesterday. So maybe we have some news in regards to that before we come on Thursday. But outside of that, it should really just be the picks that we are looking to bring. Baseball, real quick, the playoffs are coming around. Our Atlanta Braves magic number is 3. So they should be clinching sometime this week. Yankees, Astros. Yankees Astros. Who is the other team on the AL? I can't remember, but you got some NL wild card races still going on in both in both divisions. So
Can I give a dummy award before we get out of here?
what's that?
That chick who put that bread up to get R. Kelly out on bond.
What's been an update? What happened?
She want her money back. They ain't giving it to her. You knew he wasn't getting out of jail no time. So the woman, I think she put up 10 to 100,000.
I remember her.
Yeah,
and I want to say I read that he missed a court date the other day.
And you know you don't get your bread back in that regard. No, you don't. Yeah, good luck.
And that's what that's where the system's fucked. If he's in custody, he can't make that court date unless they let him make that court date.
Right.
So I don't know, but you know, yes. I don't see a positive resolution for him whether he goes to court or not. So
what did he say to her to have her put that type of bread up? Jesus.
My mind's telling me no, but my body. All right, people. Yeah, it's episode 188. Your boy Uncle Hate, your boy Diego Barishnikov. Uncle Hate, tell these people where to reach out on social media so we can get the hell up out of here.
At Rike6000, holla at me. I talk sports.
All right, you can find me at Diego Barish. I'm on Twitter as well. Don't forget to check out the AA Sportscast Twitter, Facebook, and IG pages. Again, we also upload all of our content to the Urban Arena page. Shout out to the crew over there, Glass and Brandon at Get With It Sports. Also, JB and Big Q over at Big Team Boy TV. They always show their shows Wednesdays and Thursdays live on YouTube as well. All right. So for you boys at AA Sports, Straight Sports, No Damn Chaser, we up out of here. We'll holler at y'all on Thursday in a couple of days to give week 3 picks. Y'all be easy. Peace.